Macuno, and today I'm doing a review for Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. Now this movie comes out, I think, July 30th, so a couple more days from now. So this is an advanced review, and I'm not going to really tell spoilers, maybe a couple, you know what, I'll say spoiler warning, but I'm not going to be telling the whole movie. Maybe here and there there'll be a couple of spoilers. But if you read Flashpoint already, you're pretty much going to know what happens in this movie. Let's talk about this. This is the big story arc before the New 52, what really brought us to the New 52. Does that happen in this movie? Is it really a storytelling about the New 52? I would say no. I feel like they didn't really have Pandora. They didn't show really the different worlds. I feel like it was a little tweaked because of that, because they weren't really saying, alright, well, this is the story arc that changed us to go to New 52, and like all the rest of our movies going to be about New 52. No, they didn't really do that, and I understand totally why, because if they want to go back with, I think they will go back to tell other stories besides New 52 stories. They don't want to really just, they don't want to just tell stories about the New 52, so that's why they made this more of a Flash story than, a point A to point B pre-New 52 New 52 story, and really the last pre-New 52 story. So I'm glad that they didn't really reference that much. Now, can you tell that this movie was based off of the story arc a lot? Was it word by word or anything? I think they condensed it really well, because there's a lot of miniseries that were with Flashpoint, like the Lois Lane miniseries. Kid Flash, that wasn't mentioned here, but that was actually one of my favorite miniseries from the event. We had Hal Jordan, Superman, what else did they reference here? Aquaman, obviously Wonder Woman, but that was more of a bigger part with the main story. But yeah, we have a lot of different heroes doing a lot of different things here. Batman, I think they condensed it really well here, and you couldn't tell it was all different stories. It felt like one contained movie, and they didn't copy word by word from the comic book, which is really nice. It felt fresh, but also you're telling the same story of Flashpoint. Were all the miniseries condensed really well, and was it needed? I think the Aquaman, Wonder Woman story was pretty condensed well. The one problem I had with it was I wasn't a humongous fan of the whole war when I was reading Flashpoint. Obviously, it's one of the main parts of this series and of this story, but I feel like they could have executed it a little bit better and made us more interested in it. I think the movie actually made us a little bit more interested in it. It made it feel more connected to Flash's story. But when Flash is talking to Batman, he's the first one to say that there's an Aquaman and Wonder Woman war. But they do show Wonder Woman before that, and you know something's going on with her. There's some sort of problem with her, and she is ruling part of the world because of it, with her Amazon princesses and Amazon warriors, and she's attacking the rest of the world. But it's not stated that there's a war. Obviously, if you read the story arc, you would know that there was a war, and Flash is the first person to state that there was a war. I think they should have showed Aquaman and Wonder Woman the war before Flash mentioned that, because it felt like out of nowhere that he knew about the war and that there was a war going on. I know that he had the memories from previously, but I think for the audience to really know, especially if you're just watching it, it's kind of random how he mentioned about the war, and they should have referenced Aquaman before that scene, because that is one of the main parts of this story. What else is going on in this movie? The one thing I think, one miniseries I thought wasn't really included that well and really could have been cut out to make this movie a little shorter, because some parts did drag a little, which was kind of upsetting, but mostly it wasn't that dragged at all, and it's an hour-and-a-half movie, so it's not really that draggy, especially from that last Superman Unbound was a really dragging movie. But with this, maybe like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the movie were dragging, and the only parts were the Hal Jordan parts. I felt like you really didn't need the Hal Jordan story, because it wasn't connected to any other story. They just mentioned it in the news, and Flash was like, oh no, Hal, he died. So I don't think they needed to tell the Hal Jordan story. They could have left some of the mini-stories out. Lois Lane I thought was needed. I liked her story a lot, and it's kind of cool to see Lois in different perspective and a different role in this movie and actually have something to do with the whole war, which I really enjoyed with the miniseries when the actual comic did come out. I thought she had a really good story. So I liked all those other stories. Superman was really well told here, his story, which was kind of important and made it important towards the end of this movie. The Flash story was very well told. I think we definitely felt this was a Flash movie, which is obviously Flashpoint. But I felt like there's, yes, Aquaman and Wonder Woman war going on, but I felt like that was more of the backdrop of the Flash story, which I think is Flashpoint. It shows what could have happened if his mother survived, and all these different things happen, and I like that it does feel like a paradox. What would have happened with these other heroes that we know and made them feel different, have Thomas Wayne instead of Batman, Bruce Wayne. I like the differences and how it's such a tweaking the little origins of our characters, which is something I really enjoyed with Flashpoint, and I think that it really shined here also. Now the animation I was a little annoyed with in this movie. Wasn't great. It felt very anime-ish, I would say. There's definitely been better animation. Like Wonder Woman had a very oval face. Everyone's face, and also the bulkier characters had really, the detail on their faces made them look a little older, I would say. So the detail wasn't great. Especially Wonder Woman looked very anime-ish. Younger Barry Allen looked very anime. So I didn't really love the style for that, but other than that, you kind of get used to it as the movie goes on. It's like not horrible, but it's definitely not the best we've seen with these DC anime movies for animation. And there's a point where Flash is like jumping off of buildings, actually the last part of this this movie, and that felt so CG. I mean, obviously it's all CGI stuff, but just the way it was, it felt like a model more than a finished product. So when he's jumping off the bridge, it felt a little awkward, but honestly, everything else with him running and all the fight scenes were really well produced in this movie, which I was happy about. So those are just little things with the animation. But other than that, I really did enjoy this. Now the one thing I want to talk about is the ending. The ending of this movie, I think is a little different from the Flashpoint story. It's been about 2 years since I read that story arc. When it did come out, that's when I was reading it. But I'm pretty sure in the end of the Flashpoint comic book is more about, alright, we're going into the New 52 and less about Barry. And in this movie, I felt like they focused more on Barry and had him with Iris. So that obviously is not going into the New 52 because he's not with Iris in the New 52. I'm not sure if it ended that way. They might have been together with Iris and then went into the other world. I don't remember, but if you tell me in the comments below if you remember, was Barry with Iris when he visited the grave? I don't remember. But I thought that was a really good ending because it felt more like a Flash story than, oh, we're continuing to the New 52, because it really was more of a Flash story in this movie. But I enjoyed it. Was it the best DC anime movie I've seen? It's not on my top, but I really did enjoy it, and I think it's worth watching, especially if you like Flashpoint, and especially if you haven't read Flashpoint, and you are probably new to New 52, and you've never read DC before New 52. I would really recommend this movie. I would recommend the comic book also, but really, if you start with the New 52, I really recommend this movie for you guys to watch. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Are you going to get the movie? What did you like? What didn't you like about this movie? And hopefully I'll be doing a review for the next DC anime movie, which I think is Justice League War. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.